Rising sea levels for all Pacific Island nations is one of the key discussion notes at many Pacific forums.
While the challenges for islands like Tuvalu are well documented, it's Tonga's island of Ha'apai that could well be a case of the Pacific Atlantis. Vea Mafileo has the story.
Hihifo Ha'apai. Having grown up here for much of my childhood, I know its beauty. Away from the bustle of Nuku'alofa, the simple things are treasured here. But having come back to Lefuka after some time away, those simple treasures are fading.
We will lost our home near the beach. Not only that, we sometimes will lost lives in our village because we don't know how and when the sea will come out with high level. But we need help for our village.
These people living in Lefuka, their lifestyle, livelihood has changed. Most of them don't have any other lands up in the higher grounds to move. So they live there really in fear.
As a child, on this very beach, I used to spend countless hours playing in the sand, swimming in the sea. My grandmother's church is just over there. The last time I was here was about 8 years ago, and it still had its beautiful white sand. But today, as you can see, that white sand has been completely washed away. The white sand that used to be here formed a natural barrier for the land against the waves. But because that sand is no longer here, the encroaching and higher sea levels are rapidly eroding the coastline. So the question begs, what's happened to the sand to cause the coastal erosion? In 2006, an earthquake that measured 7.9 rocked Lefuka and caused a downthrow or a subsidence of 23 centimetres to the island. In effect, this has caused a rise in the sea levels. But it's not just nature that has contributed.
It's the impact of man-made structures on the natural environment. And we identify the causeway and the main wharf of Ha'apai is the main cause of that because they interfere with the natural transportation of the sand on the island. And that's what allows the waves to attack the coastline.
Seasonally, we have a prevailing wind that brings the sand around from the eastern side of the island, around the causeway gap between the two islands, and then down Lefuka. And then another part of the year we get another prevailing wind that will push it the other way. The understanding is that the causeway and the wharf are interrupting the natural flow of the sand.
The Causeway Road was built in the 1970s, connecting the islands of Lefuka and Foa. But the full environmental damage from the causeway is only now being realised.
The reef's dead. So there's a dead reef, and you have reported fish poisoning from fish caught in the area.
Channels or tunnels are now being built under the causeway to allow for sand flow, a requirement as part of the Environmental Impact Assessment, or EIA.
They must have at least 3 tunnels by the time they finish, allowing for the sediment movements and also for nutrients and oxygen to be passed on to the other side.
But the wharf in Pangai remains unchanged.
If EIA was done for those wharves in the past, it won't be constructed as that. I'm sure, because the wharf, the new wharf now, had just replaced a structure that was open pile before. The wharf was open with piling, and the sand was going to Hifo, and I was there. I remember swimming there, beautiful beaches, until this structure. So it was probably ill-informed in that manner that the wharf was constructed like that.
Locals have made makeshift seawalls surrounding the wharf and along the entire coastline. Those in front of the hospital are holding out, but others offer little resistance. Even the royal residence in Ha'apai is under threat.
The palace walls, they've put some retaining walls in and they've actually broken through, and now it's eroding into the lawn that they've got there.
People were recently presented 3 options from the government: relocate those living along the coastline with assistance from the government, transport the existing trapped sand to the starved coastline, or have a seawall or rock revampment much like the one in Nuku'alofa.
If we can't have any more change so that we can still stay in our home, we have to move.
If the wharf and the coast are reopened up and rebuild again with open piling, that way we don't need to build a long revetment, or it just get it open up to a sand replenishment naturally, and then less impact, and it probably is probably the best solution to me. But I'm not here to choose for the people of Lifuka. The people of Lifuka just unanimously voted for the rock revetment.
Ha'apai was known for its beautiful beaches, so it's devastating to come back and see them eroding away. Perhaps the cruelest irony of all is we're now having to protect ourselves from the very ocean that's been the core of our survival for so long. Only time will tell what the next tide will bring.